Bible story this week is about a battle. Now, if you have a war, there's lots of battles in the war. And this battle is one that the explorers sing about quite a lot. But I'm going to tell you the story of it today. When God's people, the Israelites, crossed the Red Sea, God had promised them a special land that they would live in. But when they first went to go into the land, they were too frightened because they thought the people were too big and they didn't believe that God would help them. So they just wandered around and around and around for 40 years. And then some new people were in charge, and so God said, okay, you can go in now. But before they went in to this special land that God had for them, they had to check out who was there, because some people had taken it over that weren't very nice. And they went to a place called, the spies that were sent went to a place called Jericho, and they were looking around and they could see that the people were strong, and it was an enormous city, Jericho, and the walls that were all around it to keep people out were absolutely massive. They were big enough like a road, and they could have houses on them. So the spies were looking, but when the spies were there, the people that were in the city heard that they were there. And so a lady called Rahab, she said, hide in my house, and she hid them under some straw. And when the people came to try and find them, they couldn't find the spies, and so they escaped. And they said to Rahab, why did you help us? And she said, well, I believe that you come from the true God, and so I want to help you because I want to follow that God too. But please, can you help me? Don't let me perish with all the other people in this city. So the spies said to her, well, if you just hang a red cord out of your window, because she lived on the wall of the city, then anybody that's in your house and you will be safe. And off they went. And they went back to Joshua, who was in charge of all the people, and they said, it's massive, but we'll have to find out what God wants us to do. And God sometimes gives us some funny things to do. A bit odd, I would think, because he didn't tell them to get lots of weapons and go and charge. What he did, he told them to get everything, get all their trumpets and everything ready, and walk round the wall of the city, all the way round, the whole army, the whole people, very quietly, and then go back. And he told them to do that for 6 days. And they had to walk round just once, very, very quietly, and then go back to their camp. Then God said, on the 7th day, you got to walk around not once, but 7 times. And then at the end of the 7th time, you shout and blow the trumpets. As if that would make any difference, they thought. But they trusted what God said. And they went round the city 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And then as we sing, when the people gave a shout, the people shouted and they blew their trumpets, and the walls fell down. And the people were able to go into the city and take it over because it was really theirs. But although those walls fell down, there was one little bit that was left standing and that was safe and nobody was hurting. Do you remember who it was that lived there? That's right, it was Rahab. Because God had promised, hadn't he? Because she helped the spies and because she wanted to follow the true God, that he would look after her. And so he looked after her while she was there, and she became a follower of God too. We heard about the rainbow last time and how God always keeps his promises. And God kept his promise to Rahab. He looked after her. And he'll keep his promise to us. And he'll look after us. Even though we go through difficult times, even though there's a battle, even though there's a storm, God will look after us if we remember to look after him, to remember that he is the true God.